there's obviously a lot of discussion been going on and still going on. So we'd like to ask you to share some of your conclusions now. And as I said, we'll be noting some of these. It's good that there's obviously a lot of dialogue and a lot of things to debate. What we'd also ask, if it makes sense, we'd like to record also if the top priority that we've asked you to identify, if this is coming from ministries or from researchers or from school leaders, we're all sort of part of a particular group or aspect of the partnership, and we'd like to get a feel, if possible, for where the ideas are coming from, or if the ministries, for example, are especially emphasising one thing and the researchers or practitioners may be emphasising something else. We'd like to get a feel for that. So when you report back or say something, if you can give an indication of where this is coming from, that would be helpful to us. So we're not, we've only got about 10 minutes or so we're not going to go around every single table. I don't think that's feasible. So we're interested in what the things that you want to share, the top priority, and just concisely share that, and we'll get some keywords on the sheet here. Nora will be doing that for us. Okay, who would like to start? And keep it concise so we can get as much feedback as possible. Yeah, thank you.
My name is René, and I'm a school leader.
Which school? Which school?
It seems to be that I'm very lonely. So I would call upon all the female participants.
Which school?
Horizon College in the Netherlands. We in our discussion we had two, actually maybe three priorities. The first priority is to professionalize school leaders, and it's not like what we say about teachers: once qualified, always competent. That is not the case for school leaders. So they have to have a code of conduct. You have to have continued professional development. You have to be accountable to stakeholders, which we have heard a lot. So that's priority number one.
Okay.
And it's not something that has to be done by somebody else. It has to be done by the school leaders themselves. The other thing is, and that's a bit in the discussion between Western countries and Southeastern countries, I think that we would need at European level a list of best practices. We know from all the statistics which school systems perform best with the best results. So make a list of recommendations for the others. And it's a political thing in the national countries whether they want to have a bad educational system or a better educational system. But it's their choice. It's not our choice. And the last thing is that we should try and get a discussion based on these best practices for more room for school leaders, because some countries, school leaders actually are not school leaders, they're school executioners. They only can execute. So that's not leadership. So from these best practices, we can help those people to start a discussion in their own country that they would have more room to maneuver. And in the meantime, if you're in a room like this and you face the wall, you will not see the room, the space that's in the room. You will only see the wall. So put your back towards the wall and look at the space that you do have.
Thank you very much. I do hope you'll feel less lonely by the end of the partnership.
Well, a few people applaud, so...
Mika is yeah. Okay, another table. Someone else. Top priority. Short and sharp.
We come from Estonia and we have also school headmaster or leader here, so we asked him and he said that the main factor influences him is regulations. So the first priority is to change regulations and how these regulations are prepared. So And then the other factors are involvement of stakeholders, then too high expectations of principals, just what was in these presentations, and also not clear criteria for the schools. What is a school, good school? And also, I personally, I also wanted to know what were the criteria in the Netherlands when they say it is weak or not, how we decide, what are the criteria. I think in Estonia we lack these criteria.
Thank you. Next. Someone on this table? Okay.
Okay, we only managed to get from 2 countries priorities. For Bulgaria, it is a right balance between autonomy and accountability, because for the moment there is some kind of autonomy, but only in terms of hiring or firing teachers, but not real pedagogical autonomy. And there is also a lack of accountability mechanisms. So these are 2 important priorities for Bulgaria for the moment, and for Turkey, it's the education of school leaders, and also a more transparent process in the selection of school leaders, combined with more autonomy and more clear and established accountability mechanisms. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay. We've got someone else who can get? Okay. Who? Anybody to follow who, so that we know where we're going next? Show that hand.
Who will be next? Okay, my name is Huub Friedrichs and I'm representing a capacity builder. In this table, a couple of things were said about what we need is maybe discussion on a new understanding, scope, about accountability and responsibility. We were very much inspired by Hanno, who says, well, it's not only PISA results, it's not only performance measurement and output measurement, but also about personal skills, personal development for students, and not only literacy and all kinds of mathematics and literature. Maybe I will leave it to that, because 10 other things were said, but it was already about identifying best practices, it was synergy, exploiting resources from all stakeholders, so that's the awareness school leaders should head on for, okay? Thank you very much. Who's next?
Who's next to you then?
Hi, I'm Sarah Kick from the European Federation of Education Employers. So we work together with ETUCE in the social dialogue, as has been mentioned this morning by our colleagues from ETUCE. Actually, we had also similar discussions as our colleagues here and here on the importance of involving all stakeholders in the debates and discussions in school and leadership. So employers, trade unions, also parents' organizations, students' associations, so that the policy is really supported by all members and that it's not something that is implemented top-down, but it's also shared bottom-up. So that was the first point, and the second point we discussed was that not in all languages you can translate leadership as it exists in English, so it could be good to define and translate leadership in different languages.
Thank you. Okay, someone else now? Yeah. You wanted to? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Who else is keen to share? Top priority. There's lots of tables we haven't heard from.
Okay, I have to say we were discussing the same issues, and perhaps we came to thought of creating a European framework for leadership development, talking about, of course, professionalization of leadership, and of course we mentioned autonomy, accountability. So about the framework as a guide for all of us to go to the same direction as to leadership and development of leaders, professionalization, and of course improving outcomes of our pupils.
Thank you. Time's ticking. If you've got something that you really want to share and say, yeah.
My name is Jana Svanovska. I'm from Latvia, Latvian Parents Forum, and I was asked from my table to add one issue, and that was about communication. And especially what we parents feel, but also the others feel, a good leadership means, in nowadays, a good communication, ability to explain your opinion and to hear and listen others. And currently, if you want to have good cooperation with other stakeholders, you have to be a good communicator.
Thank you. And at the far table, it's got a point to make. Now, whilst the microphone is going there, is there another table? Anybody else who wants to share something as the clock gets towards high noon? Please show.
Hi, I'm not sure exactly if this represents everybody around the table, but I'm a principal teacher of a medium-sized school in Ireland, and it strikes me that one of the things that we have suffered from for a lot of years is this kind of frenetic performance-led, management-led education. And I was very interested in the three splits that Henno set out between high expectations, low trust, solving special problems, and practical wisdom versus an abundance of rules. And it seems to be the first and the last of those come down to a very simple thing, which is trust. Trust in the educators, rather than a series of set rules and regulations and performance targets, that we need to start trusting the leadership at school level. And I would say on Olaf's presentation that yes, political views start here and there, and they're mediated, but school leaders are not just mediators of, kind of unconscious mediators of whatever comes through from the top. In fact, we think that school leaders have been effective buffers for a lot of nonsense that has come through from the top, and because they've been dogged and obdurate, they said, no, that's just stupid, it doesn't work. And I think, so trust in school leaders is the thing that I would most encourage. And I'm very interested to see that Finland, which performs so well, is the one that does best on the school leadership index. So,
thank you very much. A round of applause there to Mr. Cord. Is there just one more at the back? Yeah. Yeah, one more. This is the last one, because we've run out of time.
Philip, I wanted to have this for myself.
For you?
Yeah, is it okay?
I'll think about it. Okay.
Thank you. You were talking about Finland, and I have to tell you here that we have like a 10-year cycle in our national core curriculum reform. And we were supposed to have a new national core curriculum reform 2014. But exactly as you said, that practitioners are the buffers there. They started with a framework that would not have succeeded. And I'm really proud there about the system that we have, that they decided to say that we have failed and take 2 more new years to start with the whole thing, more or less from the beginning, because of what practitioners, especially principals, said. Just wanted to share this with you.
Thank you very much, Mika. Okay, well, that's all we've got time for the moment for discussion. Before I started this session, someone described my shirt as kinetic and said it would distract people. I hope it hasn't been a distraction to your discussions. One last thing. My colleague Amanda Roberts and we have produced a video which is part of the reporting back to do with the research on distributed leadership that we've done in the UK. And we're going to show that during the lunch break. It'll be shown here, and if people want to look at it, they can just wander in and have a look at it. We'll try and put it on a loop. It's only a short a video, but it's just to illustrate a different way of sharing some of the work that, in this case, has been done on research into distributed leadership using an arts-based method, using collage that members of a school, the staff in a school did, and the students in the school did. So you're just invited to have a look at that in an informal way. We'll share that with you.